Maybe it's because I have my rose tinted glasses on, but I remember growing up having the privilege of experiencing some of the most amazing video games. I played Serious Sam, I played Duke Nukem, I played Broken Sword, Monkey Island, and of course, who can forget about Postal? And these games managed to create legendary characters. But not only that, even decades after the games were released, people would still remember the jokes from those games. That's how well they were written. And unfortunately, the newer generation is completely robbed from that because I think what you see in American media is what I like to call California humor. And this type of humor is very vulgar, uses a lot of curse words, but that's not the problem with it. The problem with it is that it tries to be politically correct, so it can't touch certain topics. And at the same time, it's very random. Like, they need to have a new joke happening every single 2 seconds. If you watch the new Harley Quinn cartoon, you probably know what I'm talking about. And while these might be entertaining for teenagers, I don't think they rise up to the quality of Duke Nukem or Postal. And of course, Japan has a different type of humor, which also, if you look at the financial records, it seems that it sells a lot more than the Western comics and the Western cartoons. But it was very difficult for me to articulate this type of humor until I saw this 4chan post. And this 4chan post talks about Borderlands, which is exactly what I'm trying to express here. And here's what the guy is saying. Imagine this normal line from the game. If you can get some fuel canisters, then I can reactivate the main generator and get our shields back up. I marked the objective on your map. Now, in a normal game, you would do the quest, like in Duke Nukem, for example. Maybe he would have like a snappy one-liner to this, and it would make the player laugh. Or maybe while he's doing the quest, you would find something funny or hilarious, right? That's how humor would work back in the old days. Now, it's the delivery. So the guy will say, "Hey, buddy, great job killing all those mutants and all. You're really good at that, shooting things, that is. One problemo, though. As it turns out, a bunch of monsters on the planet are gonna tear our eyes out if we don't get the shield back up. And this is just my opinion, but that's gonna suck. Not having eyes sounds terrible. Like, how am I supposed to read my collections of bootylicious space babes without any freaking eyeballs? So here's my brilliant plan that I got written on this here napkin. There's this generator thing, you following me? And it needs gas. Who knew? So maybe you can go out and fetch some canisters, and then we can get the generator running. And then the shield will go back up. And we won't horribly, viciously get murdered. Doesn't that sound great? I know, right? So since I did most of the work coming up with the plan, I was thinking you can do the last step and get the canisters. If you see any monsters, shoot them in the face or something. Oh, and one more tip. Try not to get killed. That'll put a wrench in this plan. Metaphorically, that is, not literally. I hate people who misuse the term literally. It drives me figuratively insane. Anyway, I'll just be here, covering in my bunker while you do all that. Go Team Badass! I hope I get a super chat for my awesome voice acting, right? But this is not really my point, all right? Like, this is just the step one of the problem. Because maybe there are people that legitimately like this type of humor. Maybe there's people who will think, yeah, like Borderlands. Yeah, it was a great game. I played it when I was a kid. I laugh. So that's not the issue. The issue is the toxicity. Because not everyone likes this humor, just like not everyone likes Duke Nukem, right? But the problem is that when you actually say it on the forums and you come out and you're like, look, I didn't like it. Okay? I don't like it. You get the lead writer of the product, like the person making the product, lecturing the fans, being sarcastic to the fans, or being horrible to the fans. Alright? And this is not, like, I'm using Borderlands as an example, but I can show it to you for, like, so many other shows or games where the developers, the people that want you to buy their product, come out with so much sass and so much disdain towards the consumer. And here you have, like, for example, the lead writer of Borderlands, which comes out and says, "Oh, I can't hear you over my money and personal satisfaction. Hey trolls, I'm actively enjoying blocking you for complaining about Borderlands meme. Feel free to keep it up." This is the problem that we're having. Right? The complete disconnect between the people making the products and the people that have to buy the product. The major drop in quality, and I don't know if it's just me, or if I was just the only one that would say, like, the products have completely dropped in quality, I don't think you would need the lead writer of Borderlands to come out and lecture the fans, because there's probably like so many people that also do not appreciate this level of writing that this guy is upset, right? So it's not just a vocal minority, it's probably a significant number. And they're unwilling to take criticism. And I am afraid that because of this, the industry is going to die. And it's not going to die because people will stop playing video games. I played Baldur's Gate recently, which is a game that's very old. The graphics were almost unbearable to the eye. I guess I'm a little bit spoiled. But the writing was so good. It was so excellent. And some of the jokes legitimately made me laugh out loud. And they're still memorable. I like, all the characters had so much personality and so much depth that I'm afraid we're never going to see something like that anymore in modern video games. And you get to experience the same problem with comic books. You get like old comic books being reprinted, and they sell better than the current comic books. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be like that. I played Baldur's Gate recently, which is a game that's very old. The graphics were almost unbearable to the eye. I guess I'm a little bit spoiled. But the writing was so good. It was so excellent. And some of the jokes legitimately made me laugh out loud. And they're still memorable. I like, all the characters had so much personality and so much depth that I'm afraid we're never going to see something like that anymore in modern video games. And you get to experience the same problem with comic books. You get like old comic books being reprinted, and they sell better than the current comic books. It's ridiculous. It shouldn't be like that. I mean, speaking of comic books, if you really want to know the problem, I would make the argument that Duke Nukem is actually, at this point, more American. Like, people would desire to be more like Duke Nukem than they would want to be like Captain America from the comic books. And that's kind of sad, isn't it? Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the comment section.